Okay, we are back. Today we have some lovely guests with us today. Well, they like family to the show. Today's topic we'll be talking about family issues, and I'm quite sure we all have a story to tell. So before we begin, okay, getting the echo. Oh, I think I got
Yeah,
an echo. Okay, I thought I was getting an echo.
I don't hear anything.
Okay, all right. Okay, welcome to the Brown Spade Podcast Show. So today we're talking about family issues. So let me start this thing off. So the other day, I was having this conversation with my wife, and she was talking about her brother. And I know we come from two different cultures. Let me say that. And she was saying, she was talking about her brother. She wanted him to. Her expectation for him is to do more for their mother. Now he's married, got two kids. I explained to her. I say, well, his obligation is to his wife. And I said, and if you want to get biblical with it, even though I'm not a religious person, I'm a spiritual person. Um, I said, well, it even says it in the Bible if you want to go there. So she didn't dispute that, but she still felt as though her brother should be obligated to do things. But I said, but you don't know his situation. He has two kids. He has his own responsibilities plus a wife. So anyway, that was one of the issues. So my question is to bring it all together is, and I notice here in the Western world, especially in the Black communities where you do have, um, and I'm not saying don't do nothing for your parents, and let me be clear about that. That's not where I'm going with this. But sometimes we know somebody, or we've been in, or we know of a situation where some parents put the pressure on their kids if their kids are doing well and feel as though their kids owe them. And I explained to my wife that, you know, my son that lives in America, he owes me nothing. You know, I mean, I would like more conversation, more conversing. And I think that'll come too in time, but he owes me nothing. He's my son and I love him, but he owes me nothing. Whatever my debt is my debt. Whatever bad decisions I made I have to deal with that. He's not responsible for that. So what do you guys take? Who's going first?
Your mic.
You mute. You mute.
You're muted.
You muted.
I'm muted.
No.
No,
Go
No,
ahead.
that was.
You was
I'll,
muted.
say, I'll chime in and say I wholeheartedly agree. I understand the culture that she's speaking of because I would call that old school because back in the day, I feel like people had less responsibilities. Like, yeah, they had family, but there wasn't as much stuff to be involved in that took up time. Like kids didn't have as many activities. And it just was different society back then, right? So now people have gotten a busier lives. And I feel like that's their choice. And we can't discredit what they deem as important. Now, would it be great if he took on more responsibility with their parents so that it could be more balanced? Yes. I would personally want it to be balanced with me and my sister but have a discussion on what we can and can't do so that we don't even get to that point where someone thinks they're overburdened. And what we can't do, I feel like we have to find a solution for someone who can step in and do it, right? But I don't see a problem with it. And I take your opinion, Daniel, that no one owes anyone anything, parent to child, child to parent, especially once everyone's adults, because everyone has their own path. So I feel like both parties, because there's some, like I have some friends who feel like their fathers should still bail them out financially just because they're women. and that's what fathers do. But I'm like, we gotta past 40, you know what I'm saying? So at this point, we're, you know, old enough to do our own thing, and we shouldn't lean heavily on parents to do anything for us once they've done their job of raising us. That's my take on it.
Right.
And I'm gonna piggyback on that. Like, when does it get to, like, what age do you cut that umbilical cord and say, you know, I'm not gonna take care of my child, or vice versa? You know, you look at your kids to move on and start their own family. Because I look at it like, I think other coaches raise their kids to take care of them, you know, once they get a certain age. So if you get to the point, if you have, let's say you have two kids, um, and you raise them as far as, you know, just graduated from high school, getting a job, and going out here, you know, and starting a family. Of course, that person is not going to be able to, you know, take care of you if you was to fall on hard times as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
But you have parents, who, you know, set their kids up, you know, set up a trust fund for them to go to school, and set them up, you know, to where they can, you know, get into a career path, or they may have a store or business that they running, and they leave it to their kids, and their kids take over the business. Then they can take care of, you know, the grandparent or their parents or whatever. But I think you have to, if that's what you want, because eventually you're gonna get old, you're not gonna be able to work. You know, you have to set your kids up to be able to possibly help you or take care of you, but you shouldn't expect it. You know, you shouldn't expect it. That shouldn't be, you know, I brought you into this world, I take you out, and all this stuff I did for you, you should know, because I didn't ask to be in this world. You chose to bring me into this world. So as a parent, you know, you take care of your responsibility. As an adult, you take care of your responsibility. But I think a lot of times we tend to, and the thing is, like our parents' age, it's like it skipped a generation, because my parents, you know, my mother and my father didn't take care of their mother and father, you know. But fast forward to us, you know, our age group, our parents expect us to, you know, some of our parents expect us to step in and take care of them. But you know, you didn't take care of your mother and father. Why is that? You know, because they didn't raise you to do that.
Yeah.
We got the Simpsons in the building.
Hey.
Hey,
Hello.
what's going on, y'all?
What's going on? What's going
Okay,
on?
so just hold tight. Let me just bring them up to speed.
Go over there.
If you guys didn't hear me, I was basically saying, are we're obligated to take care of our parents, because in our society, I had this conversation with my wife the other day, and basically she was saying that she felt like her brother should do more, and I was saying, well, your brother is married, his obligation is to his wife and his children.
Mhm.
Your mother is not first on his list when he get married, like I explained to her. Now, I'm not saying don't do anything for your parent. I'm saying, or we're obligated to do things for you. I'm not saying, because we all should do if you're able to do.
Mhm.
But I'm saying, but we don't owe them. You should not feel like you owe your parents anything. Like me, I tell my kids all the time, you guys don't owe me anything, you know, because
Yeah.
I asked, you know, I wanted you here, and I took care of you till you became an adult. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're my responsibility until you become an adult. Once you become an adult, then you're responsible for yourself. Whatever my decisions I made, bad or good, then that's what I have to deal with. So Cleveland had the floor. Go ahead and finish your statement, brother.
No, I was finishing up. That was it. Go ahead, Key. Go ahead, Key.
Oh well.
When you say obligated, I don't feel like it's an obligation. I feel more so that it's a respect and a gratitude type of situation. Because no, we didn't ask to be here, and you know, the kids didn't ask to be here. However, I feel like once you instill certain qualities into your children, it shouldn't be a burden for them to quote unquote take care of you. It's not an obligation, but it's more so once we get in our later years, if we can't, I would feel some type of way if my children just abandoned me. Like
Yeah,
I would feel some kind of.
but see, I'm not saying abandon. I'm saying that again. Listen what I'm saying. I'm saying that again. I'm not saying don't do anything for your parents. I want to be clear about that. I'm saying, are you obligated? I mean,
don't feel like obligation is the word. No, I don't feel like
if we're able to do, if we got we're good-hearted people. Of course, we're gonna do things for our parents if we can, because in some situations people cannot.
This is true.
But we live in a society where some parents in America, they will put that pressure on their child. I brought you in this world. This is how you're gonna do me, and da 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 da. That time I've heard that throughout the years. Yeah. So that it brought me to that when me and my wife had the discussion. So go ahead and finish, Ms. Kim.
But that part I don't agree. I don't agree with the whole trying to throw up in their face what you've done for them over these years. Like I feel like that's counterproductive and counterintuitive. Why are we doing that? So as far as obligation, no, I don't feel like they should be obligated. You know, we all know that we'll age at some point. We all know we'll get older. We all know that we may not be able to do the things that we were once able to do. So I feel like we have that responsibility of setting ourselves up to make sure we can be okay as well. Because you make sure your children okay. You talked about setting them up with trust funds and things like that. You also have to make sure you set yourself up to be okay in the event that you may need some extra care.
That's my point. And I know you mentioned trust funds and all that, but I mean most Black families we ain't set up like that. So that's a whole different mindset. But for the most part in our community, that's not a normal thing.
I don't feel like I would want to like pressure my children into quote unquote taking care of me. Once you reach a certain age, I'm like, I think I've been taking care of myself for a pretty long time, and we could work this out without it being too much pressure or a burden on anyone.
But there are some times when I feel like it's not an obligation, but I do struggle with seeing someone able to step in and do things for parents or grandparents, and they deciding not to, like, at least make sure they have their bare necessities met. And then when they get of age where they can't take care of themselves for whatever reason, whether it be health or just simply they're older in age, 70s, 80s, or whatever, where they may need a little extra assistance. If I personally can't be present to do that because I'm, living life in a certain way that doesn't afford me the ability to be present daily, I would make sure there's someone there to care for them, though. Because I don't, like, in that instance, definitely not obligated, but I do feel like there is a certain level of, like he said, respect and honor in caring for parents and grandparents, especially if the relationship was stable. Now, because I got to admit, I got a story of, I had a great grandmother and grandmother on my maternal side, and in my 20s, I spent a lot of time with them, taking them to doctor's appointments, taking them where they need to be, because family means that much to me, right? As I got older and my relationship with my grandmother changed, because I saw parts of how she treated me and other family members that I didn't agree with, I let that be known, and she continued down that path. So I withdrew certain levels of my support just because of how I was treated. And I do believe that is also fair as well. Some people disagree that no matter how you're treated, you got to go for it, but that's just not me. But I do, like he said, believe there is respect, and I'll add to it honor in taking care of parents as a way of saying thank you. You know what I'm saying? For being who they've been to get you where you are.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna have to go. Well, let's go ahead with the Simpsons. They didn't get they jump in. Go ahead. Unmute your mic.
Well, I got you. First of all, man, thank you again for having us on the show, man. This Atlanta traffic had me running a little late, man, but it's a pleasure to be on here with you guys discussing this particular topic. I think Daniel probably, and I don't know for sure, but I think you may have been inclined to invite us on this topic because you went on a cruise with us and saw how kind of close we were with my parents and how close knit my family is. And it's funny that you talk about this, but my dad actually had to have a conversation with us maybe 2 weeks ago in reference to this.
Wow.
My dad and them has been married for a long time, and I've never seen them without somebody in the household.
Right.
Because that's just how his mom was. His mom took care of everybody, and he had to make it his business to say that he's going to put it in writing that he don't want us to have the obligation or the burden. And I know it sounds harsh because it sounded harsh to me when he said it.
Yeah.
He just said he don't want to be a burden to none of his kids. And
that's how I feel.
Yeah, he's putting it in writing. And he know that because we are a close-knit family, we will be there, but we all it was a real heartfelt conversation and a hard conversation.
Yeah.
To actually hear that, because that's how I was brought up, to take care of my people, my parents.
Yeah.
So obligation, I think, is the word that probably sticks with everybody. And I don't think obligation is probably the term for it, but I just think it's our culture a lot of times to really want to reach back and take care of the parents that we feel took care of us for all these years. So it's just a hard thing. It's a hard pill to swallow for, I think, a lot of black people, to be honest. They don't want to put them in a nursing home where they feel like they may be mistreated at times and all this. But
right.
I say to that, and my dad said to that, just make sure you come visit. Just make sure.
That's it. Come see me.
You know what I'm saying? So we you're right though, Daniel. We really have to get in a better place of preparing ourselves and having the means to take care of ourselves in the when we are unable to take care of ourselves, and come visit.
Because again, I mean, in America, and I want to be clear. I'm not saying don't do anything for your parents. That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying America is an expensive place.
Yes.
And you have married couples struggling financially because it's expensive, not because they're lazy, because it is expensive. If you stuck in the middle, you don't want to go down to the hood. You make enough just enough out the hood, but you still up there with the elite, and so that puts you spending more money because you in a different neighborhood. That's just on one account. Yeah. Now we're talking about car expenses. We're talking about car insurance. Yeah. We're talking about you going back and forth to work, lunch, breakfast, dinner, your kids. You might have a child that's about to go off to school, to college. So your energy and your resources are going to be so divvied out and in different channels. It's like you robbing Peter to pay Paul already.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention inflation and things of that nature. And again, I support my mom. I pay for her insurance. I feel like my sister and brothers can do more. But I'm not going to pass the judgment on them. But just for sake of conversation, that's why I'm bringing it up. But I mean, of course, if we all had it like that, of course we would buy the home. Of course we would have, the red carpet out for them. Of course. But that's not the everyday person. That's not the average everyday person. And I think that, and I think I'm talking to everyday people right now.
I mean, like I said, I agree. I mean, we have to, as a culture, start to do better about planning for the future.
Yeah.
Because it will happen. Like you have people, they have insurance on their cell phone, but they don't have life insurance.
Thank you.
I don't comprehend that part. I've taught my kids at a very early age to always have life insurance.
Right.
And people say, why you have life insurance on your kids? They're just kids. I said, kids pass away too. And the last thing I want to be worried about is begging y'all for money.
Right.
It's bad enough I got to put my child away. God forbid that ever had to happen.
Right.
I don't want to have to beg you for, and I don't want my children
I don't want to go fund me
begging for anything for me.
Exactly.
So we have to do better about planning for the inevitable.
Yeah, and we've had on this show, we done had on this show at least twice that I can think of somebody talking about insurance. And again, it's something that we take for granted. Like you say, these people they will have insurance on their cell phone, they will have insurance on their car. You know what I'm saying? Which they have to. They it's mandatory to do it. That's the only reason why they do it. But still, they're not looking at the importance of just your livelihood. Not to mention that insurance itself is that's how white America build their wealth in a lot.
They sure do.
You know what I'm saying? And we
sure do.
Don't want to pay. Like I said, I pay my mom insurance, and I talked to my sister one day, and I was explaining to her, you know, she has adult children. I know they don't have any insurance, and I was like, okay, so I'm trying to have this conversation with you. Death is inevitable. However, sit your kids down and talk to your kids, and y'all need to start talking about who's going to pay what insurance or whatever. Now, see, and so they had this discussion. They did, but I guarantee you, out of 5, I wouldn't be surprised maybe 1 hold up as far as insurance concerned. But they would be mad at me because they would expect more out of me. You see what I'm saying? Because they feel like you got it like that. No, but see, now you look at the position you put me in. That's not. But if I come to you now and say, let me take out, let me do to pay the insurance, you ain't gonna want that. You see what I'm saying? You can't have it both ways. I'm just saying that I'm just telling you what kind of people that I'm dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And again, we're talking about family issues, so I'm quite sure, you know, some of you guys got some stories that.
So let me ask you this: Do y'all think it is appropriate to have a conversation with your siblings about having life insurance on each other?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If they want to get buried, you know, and now
Because I'm gonna cremate you.
If a person tells me that's what I'm gonna do, you know,
$700, you get cremated.
I mean,
how much?
700, if that.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's about $700 to get
You can
cremated.
find some.
Hey, yesterday prices are not today.
Not today. But you know what?
They're gonna be in the FedEx box.
Even if it's $1,400, I'll take that over $20,000.
Hey, Cleve, if it go past 1,000, I'll be sitting on that barbecue grill out there in the back.
Hey, listen. Gas is $5 a gallon. Hey, look, they didn't went up on that price to burn you. Believe me.
Hey, it's still cheaper than a funeral.
It is.
So
it is.
You're saying having insurance on siblings, even adult married siblings who they got their own thing going, or if they don't have it? It's not for the funeral.
Because I have had conversations, you know, with family members, and it was just a awkward conversation because
it is.
They was looking at me like I was gonna get them to sign, then I was gonna pull the trigger right there, and I'm like, no, like. I don't mind you having life insurance on me.
Well, let me ask you, how much was the policy?
We never got past the fact that I was asking them this. So the fact that we was having this conversation.
But see, that's where we wrong at black folks. See, I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah,
because it doesn't matter how much the policy is, because if I'm paying for it,
Understand why I'm asking.
No. Okay. I'm saying in general. I'm not saying why you ask. I'm saying this is the question that they ask. I'm saying that I'm just making a general statement. I'm not talking about you in particular. I'm talking about some of our black people. You know, you go, well, why you know, now they want to know how much. Like, dude, you're dead. Like,
right.
On top of that, it didn't cost you a coin. It didn't cost you a coin. And on top of that, believe it or not, as bad as it sounds, death is also can be an investment.
It is. That's what I'm saying. So I asked the question because I was thinking they were opposed to it because of what you're saying. But since they didn't get to that conversation, that wasn't the reason. I was thinking that was it. But for me, I feel like if you want to pay on $1 million policy and invest in my debt, go ahead. Like
what I'm gonna do.
And so my
just
it's your policy. It's your policy, right?
My thought process was,
people get excited.
If I'm having this conversation with you, we have to really, be close. We have to really be close, because some people not mature enough to have this conversation. Some people will plot on some. I mean, they be plotting on some crazy stuff. So for me to sit down and have this conversation with my siblings or my loved ones, it's because I'm not trying to get over on you. I don't want you to think, I'm trying to get over on you. I just wanna make it to where, which I'm fine as far as burial, but these are the conversations we need to have, because this is something you can actually sit down with your kids. Like for instance, if let's say you got grandkids, and you pass, and your daughter was basically living with you, or depending on you to help take care of her and the grandkids. This is something that can be in writing, saying that, hey, this is what I'm leaving, for her grandkids, or I'm gonna bury them this way, or I'm gonna do just anything. Anything can happen. But I wanted to have the full conversation, but like I said, and I'm gonna revisit again. I'm gonna revisit it again.
I'm gonna have to do the same, Cleve, because again,
right.
My thing is, okay, so for my sister, and again, I'm just telling you the mindset of my people, and I'm from the hood, y'all. So y'all, I mean, I'm telling you, they'll be like, "Oh, you that much?" It's like it hurts them to know it's that much when they pass away. It's like, but I'm paying for it.
Like they worth more dead than alive.
Yeah.
You never know; they can get a policy on you. It's cool.
Exactly.
But that's the point.
Here's the thing, y'all. Here's the thing. You can take out more than one policy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you can.
So don't get mad at me. Guess what? We all could take out a policy.
And Jeremy has a good question. He's saying, do you think the majority of Black people have the financial literacy to have the conversation? And I would think they don't.
No, they don't. The average person don't.
So let me say this. Mm-hmm. I remember my grandmother, I remember the insurance man coming to my grandmother's house.
Yeah.
Knocking on the door, I don't know how much it was in life insurance. Yeah, I remember that. I remember
that as well. And that doesn't mean financial literacy is different. Like all the ways we're speaking of how insurance can be beneficial, people don't consider that, and that hasn't been a conversation.
Those elders and grandparents, they already had their plot paid for by the time they passed away.
And their policies were only for burial. They weren't for
Yeah, they were, but it wasn't for wealth. It was only for burial.
No, it was just for burial.
Right, but again, I commend them for that.
Me too.
I commend them for that, because now, how many times have we been on Facebook and we see GoFundMe?
Mm-hmm. Right, they had all the shoes, all the clothes, all the jewelry,
all the Gucci, all the Louis. Living my best life.
Yeah,
and they ain't got no freaking insurance. You know.
Also, look, people never have the conversation.
John done went and got shot up because he wanted to be a thug, but they have no insurance. Now she's begging to put him, to bury him. I don't want to be like that. And I remember being a little boy in the hood. I remember people used to be, some people didn't have insurance. They go around knocking on people's door asking for money. And I was a little boy, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. They coming to my door. I'm like, what is this? I didn't understand it, but I know I didn't like it. I knew I didn't like it.
My grandmother always, as far back as I can remember, she always told me to have life insurance. Yeah. And I, in turn, did it with my kids. And like Mo said, though, when it comes to financial literacy, then we have to take it a step further and speak on the different types of insurance, like having trust, living wills, all type of things, because I don't want my kids to end up in probate. And like you all said, I need to go back and revisit that and really get this stuff on paper, because I have some things financially, they're good. And I taught them how to manage money, because I don't want someone else coming in to manage the money I left for them.
Right.
Manage your own money. So I taught you how to do that.
Right.
However, there are other things as far as probate, as far as trust, as far as wills, as far as deeds and houses and properties, and we have to speak about those things.
Now it's funny you
talk about it.
It's funny you say that about wills. You know, it's just we do think that we gonna live eternally, because me and my wife have been talking about, you know, and I'm guilty. Me and my wife have been talking about putting the will together since hell, I guess since we got married, and that's been 23 years ago, and we just keep saying we got more time. And you look up now, I'll be 50 next month. I'm like, damn.
Right.
I don't know how much time I got left now. So I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad we're having this conversation, because, you know, at least it's going to jog something and shock some things. And hopefully I'll be motivated to go ahead and get this will done. I'm laughing about it, but it's just real. You know what I'm saying? It's real.
It's real. Yeah, it's real.
Let me comment on with Jeremy. Jeremy White said. The thing is, it's two different conversations that you may want to have. Which, if you know the person is not,
financially literate,
understand how money is and how business is done with money, then you just talk about the burial. You don't even have to talk about, you just talk about burial. You could get burial insurance. You don't have to do the whole $2 million,
Right.
We just gonna get 40, 50, 30,000. You know what I'm saying?
But here's the thing. I'm gonna say this for the people in our community. In our community, you don't need to talk about how much you're getting. You just need to say, you know what, when you die, you covered. And leave it like that if you're paying the policy, because
it's that easy.
Listen to
that
me. When you put that number on there, you know how them Negroes be.
Yeah.
I get it. I wouldn't even. Well, this is the thing too. Like his question is about people not having financial literacy and opening the conversation. And I feel like the way to open the conversation with people is first, make it relatable. When you see a GoFundMe for someone famous that didn't have money, like not too long ago, a comedian died and they had to do a GoFundMe for a comedian who was well known. I can't remember his name.
AJ, was it AJ?
AJ Johnson? AJ Johnson?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's a way to open the conversation.
I didn't even know he died.
AJ Johnson died, the comedian, well known, made good money, and they had to do a GoFundMe for his funeral services and to take care of children. And then that opens the conversation. The next thing is, well, what do you think about that? Get people's thoughts on what they think about it, because it could be to them that they don't care about being in a casket and spending $30,000 on the funeral. It could be, hey, I don't care. And I got enough to save for that. So I'm saying, you gotta understand people are, how they want their burial services to be handled, and also understand what their thoughts are and how much they know about, life insurance and those things. And then also, check ourselves. Do we know as much as we think we know? Do we know the difference between term and whole and how to have that conversation?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we get a little bit because we got insurance thing we got it going on.
Yeah.
Your policy's up in 2 years because we in our
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
You check that conversion date.
Mo, I'm with you on that. But to answer that question, and which is true what Mo's saying. But that's why you bring in the insurance person. While you having this first you have this conversation with family only, and then you have a second meeting to bring a person who is in insurance. And then
I disagree with it being that quick though. Sometimes we come from what we know and what we feel and push things on people. And I feel like trying to have family meetings and be so structured with it sometimes is not the best approach. I feel like have conversations with family, like we having conversations now. Have some dialogue first. Open it up like that. Don't just come to me and be like, "Hey, I'm getting a policy on you, and you just gonna be okay with it. You can get one on me if you can." You know what I mean?
No, that's not what I'm saying. You just, I'm listen. I'm not saying do that. I'm saying, but you have to sit down and have some dialogue with your family members and say, "Look, okay, we know we all gonna die. So basically, you just keep it real. Everybody sit in the living room. Okay, do you want to be cremated, or do you how do you see yourself when you die? Do you want to be buried or you want to be cremated?" And then when they start saying, I want to be a funeral, then that's when you go, "Well, you don't have an insurance." And then you see what I'm saying? So now a person might say, "Well, hey, I just got enough to cremate me. Is in my Nike shoe box in the closet. Y'all just go ahead and just put me in flames and let it blow." I mean, but the conversation must be had.
Definitely, I'm saying that conversation. I just approach to me is a little bit important. More,
definitely. Yeah, that's always important. Like the conversation I had, it wasn't uncomfortable conversation because we just lost my dad. Like, this conversation we was having.
Right.
I feel like when it comes to dealing with like family issues, especially concerning death, it's really, I don't think it's ever really a comfortable conversation.
Never.
Like, so my oldest daughter is 26, and when I've been having the conversation with her since she was 18, because at that point I transferred my beneficiary over to her. So, I had to have the conversation like, hey, you have a sister, they're 10 years apart in age. And I'm like, I'm trusting that you will be able, I've taught you enough to be able to handle everything in my absence. So now, at first, it was this person that you would have had to go through. Now it's you. And I need you to know it's enough for you to pay the house off, or it's enough for you to do this. Please do not pay $30,000 to put me in the ground.
Right.
There's plenty of money there to do it, but please don't do that. And I told her, if they don't cremate me, I'm gonna go in their house and hunt them and knock all their stuff over when they sleep. But you really have to have detailed conversation. I had to tell her, like, hey, there's a policy with this company, this company, this company.
Right.
I need you to know what this paperwork is.
Right.
Make it seamless. But it's never, she was like, Mama, why we gotta talk about this? And because I need you to.
Ain't no right time to talk about it.
It's no right time.
Key, you don't want to have a funeral at the club like the old boy did?
You have me sitting up at, look, if anything, my funeral gonna be on the airplane sitting up, because that's what I like to do, travel.
Yeah.
Hit me up in first class then and walk by.
Your boy was in the club. He was in the club like this. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Man, that was now it didn't get no ghetto than that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's them. I don't know. It's them been something out there, bro.
Yeah, but that's one of the top right now. That joke was in the club like King Tut up in there.
Yeah.
They had one sitting at his dining room table in his house. When you walk in the house, it looked like he was sitting
at the one
eating with his family.
The one, the guy playing the game and all that, the video game and all that?
See, that's too much.
I seen one,
but to each their own.
I seen one for my Pittsburgh Steelers. A guy had the Steelers playing all day. He was sitting up with a remote in his hand, and that was like the wake. People came through, and it's something out there to compete, bro.
Hey man, I tell you one thing I can't. I know I'm jumping the subject, man. But humans can be the most complex creatures on the face of the earth, man.
So complex yet so simple.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
My God, I don't care what my favorite team is. I don't care what my favorite room is, my favorite club. Look, man, just listen. I'm dead. You think I really feel this stuff? Yeah,
the thing is,
I can hear the Steelers.
They just want their wishes carried out.
Hey, get ready. My dad, hey, while we playing, I wouldn't be surprised if my dad. I wouldn't be surprised if my dad put that in his will. I told my wife to bury me with a smile on my face.
I'm not doing it.
I'm putting it right.
I'm not doing it.
I want to
what
be
if you don't have any teeth?
Doing it.
What if your teeth gone by then?
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I'm putting it in right.
I'm just gonna stop his wishes, and she said,
I'm gonna stop his wishes. I'm not doing that.
I put it in right.
So let me ask you this. This is pertaining to kids. Your kids get in trouble, get locked up. Well, let me put it like this. Me, you have a certain age. You have one time to get in trouble in a certain age, an age limit. I'll bail you out, but it can't be nothing heinous. Like, it can't be nothing heinous. But if you get caught stealing or something like that, yes. Now I bail you out, but you only have one time. How do you feel about, hold on, still on thing that popped up. How do you feel about parents continue to bail their kids out of problem in a situation.
It's a recipe for
Let
disaster.
me go first. Let me go first on them. I think parents should get the hell off.
For real. I feel like it's a recipe for a disaster. You set them up to fail.
Dude, I'm telling you, listen, I got 0. You got the Cleve good. Cleve give you 1 chance. I got 0. Now
But at a certain age.
Hold on though.
Certain age.
I think it starts early though. I think it starts early.
I'm coming to visit though.
I think it starts early with small things that sometimes people don't
catch.
Like right now, the entitlement of assignments are due, but kids get all year to do it. You know what I'm saying? And if you're a parent that allows that, that's kind of setting that thing up of like little stuff like that. I think attributes to the entitlement of always being rescued. So childhood like that, you can't say at a certain age now, well, you can say it, but it doesn't make sense to all of a sudden think they're not going to be entitled off and think that they want to be bailed out. You know what I'm saying?
My child make a good grade. They're supposed to make good grades.
Exactly. Right. Like, and so that's my thing. I don't believe in the whole. I don't reward a fish because
you make good grades. I'm gonna buy you some Gucci flip flops. You know, that's what we're dealing with right now, and that's why these kids are just thrown all the way off. I mean,
I've run across adults that are the same way.
Of course,
in our generation, you want brownie points. I don't reward fish for swimming. Now I reward.
Right.
I reward a fish for climbing a tree. Fish don't climb trees.
Yeah,
but you want me to reward you for swimming and you a fish? I don't understand that.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I just came across a situation where someone I know, their son got into some trouble, and so now, he's looking for him to bail him out, and he's like, you wasn't there for me, and this, that, and the third. I'm your son. And
was it habitual? Was the kid always in trouble? I mean,
this is a grown. From my understanding, this is not a kid. You got to specify this is not a kid.
But was the kid? Was this common? Is this a all the time type deal? You get in trouble, run the street and stuff.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh,
pretty much. But the dad just feel like, I wasn't, there for him, like I could have been, because I wasn't, I was incarcerated, whatever, and I couldn't be there for him.
You know what I'm saying? He can't hang over his head.
I feel like, you get to a certain age where you got to be held for your own, like you got to be held accountable for your own actions. Like,
me too.
Everything happened, with me. Everything happened with you. If you go out and do a crime, you gotta do the time, man.
You gotta face the consequences of your actions.
You have to sit down, because matter of fact, I just sat down for the crime that I did. So guess what? I learned from that. So you're gonna have to do it too. And I just it's
like,
not
so
that
for
easy,
me,
but it is that easy.
So for me, it depends on, like you said, the offense. So I had an instance with my oldest daughter once, and she's driving. She gets in an accident that wasn't her fault, finds out her license was suspended for something previous that she thought she had taken care of. License suspended. She didn't know. They arrest her.
Right.
In that case, I'm going to get you out.
Yeah, that's a little different. All right,
right, and because she's never been a problem, but what she also did is she paid that money back to me. She didn't feel like I owed that to her. She was like, "Mama, I didn't know. Just get me out of here. I'll get the money back to you." And it's like that. But if you're doing things that you like, if my daughter, she don't have one time to steal, and I'm gonna get her out because I taught you not to steal.
Exactly.
Certain things I have zero tolerance for because you know better.
Right.
So there's some things it's like you're gonna sit down. You're gonna sit down because you know better. Now some things that are out of your control, that's different. When you constantly doing stuff though, okay, you need to sit down, you need to think.
Yeah. And one of the amazing things that I see is these people that their kids shot 4 folks and they on social media to about free my baby and
Oh yeah.
Right. No, your baby need to stay where they at and get some rehabilitation.
so he can get out and shoot some more folks. Like, no, he need to sit down. He got to sit down and do the. He has to do the time because let's flip it around and say that
right. They talking about justice for my son. Justice for
my son. Yeah, justice for my son.
Yeah.
Yeah, justice for my son. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. We got a new guest.
Sorry.
That's my grandbaby, man.
Sorry.
I know. Yeah, man, but we definitely have to have these conversations because it just brings problem when that time comes. You know, it brings problem. I've seen. I got a friend. Well, he passed away now. May he rest in peace. So I'm gonna give you another story. So my friend, this is my friend. We've been friends like since babies, right? I mean, literally babies. Our mothers used to bring us around each other in Pampers. So he's passed away now. Rest in peace. So he was his mother only had 2 kids, him and his brother. And in her years of her being sick, she knew she was eventually gonna die. So, you know, she changed the policy around or whatever. And she, you know, my friend, he was taking his mom to the hospital. At all of her visits, he was there, taking her there. Now, the other brother, which is her first child, you know, he's still running the streets. Or whatever he was doing, he wasn't there. Let me put it like that. Yeah. So when she changed the policy up, she's like, look, when I pass away, you get this, you bury me, and you get this. Now, this is the mother wishes, not my friend wishes. So anyway, when she passed away, my friend get this money. But his brother feels like, look, since it's 2 of us, I deserve half of the money. And man, they fell out. They fell out because he felt he was obligated to half of the money because it's only two kids.
Now let me ask you, did the brother get any money though?
0.
Oh well.
I'm saying the brother ain't give the brother no money. Nothing.
I think he gave maybe somewhere a low thousand.
Get it out, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
He didn't have to.
You didn't have to give him anything.
But
no, I ain't have to give him none. But
no. But the thing was, why are you mad at your brother when this is your mother wishes?
Yeah.
Because did it cost him for the mother to pass away? And
this is the thing,
you want something
that people don't
look
get
paid from your mother's death.
That even if someone shares out the kindness of their heart, that in a way is going against the person's wishes,
right?
You know, in a way. Right. But also, when you're given the money, you are given the option to do what you like with it once the burial is taken care of. So it can be looked at twofold.
Right.
However, I feel like that obligation or that entitlement, once again, is misplaced.
But he put the pressure on his brother. The big brother put the pressure on the little brother. The little brother the one received the money. The little brother was the one taking her to the doctor visit. So the mom like, look, you're the only one, you know, being here for me when I need you in this time of need. So I'm gonna go ahead. You're gonna get all of this.
Yeah. I guess that's the fact that a lot of us don't.
And it caused frictions in their relationship. And
because some people are greedy, some people want all the title without the responsibility. Because you want to stay on Big Brother, but you weren't here helping. You weren't here taking her back and forth. You weren't doing any of those things. Right. She does not owe you anything, and I wouldn't owe you anything either.
Their relationship, it just went in disarray. It was just at that point
over money.
They had over money because the older brother felt like he was entitled to half of the money.
So do you all think in order to preserve the relationship that the younger sibling should have split the money or done something different?
Nah,
I don't think so.
Nah.
I
I do.
think it's situational. I think it's
Should have
situational.
gave him the
I
house.
don't.
Again, you talking about okay? So again, we're talking about we're not talking about children. We're talking about this man got this money, this large lump sum of money. He has a wife. He has a wife. He has kids, and so it's like, damn, I got this money now. I could do some things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I mean, when I heard it, I felt bad. I felt bad that it happened, and I knew that it was going to tarnish their relationship. And
I get
so,
what the Simpsons saying. What were you guys saying? They were saying something a little.
No, she said.
I said that I thought that the older brother should have received something, even if it was a piece of property or something.
And
But
I said,
hold on. I'll say this. My dad has set up, because I just have one sibling and he's 5 years younger. And he has set it up. My dad is remarried, but he does have a will. And the terms of the will is that once he passes away, if his wife is still living, then she obtains everything that he owns. It goes to his wife. Right. After the wife passes away, if there is any money left from his will, it will come to me and my brother. It's going to be whatever it is half. Right. And then the properties that he owns, I can't do anything without my brother, and my brother can't do anything without me.
That's in his wishes, though. That's what they're saying.
Right. It was the mother wishes. It was the mother wishes to give the baby boy
who took care of
the one who took care of her, the one who was taking her to the doctor visit, the one who was in and out of the hospital with her, when the other brother wasn't going to make those visits, wasn't coming to see her. And again, this I know.
Give him the house.
None of them ain't got the money, baby. None of them ain't got the money.
I
know,
know,
talking about somebody else.
So let me give y'all
I know.
Go ahead, Ma.
So this experience is my exact. I lived this, right? I'm the younger sibling. My sister's the older sibling. I'm on the life insurance policy. She was not on life insurance policy. Our mother died when I was 19. My sister was 20. And for the sake of our relationship, I split the money. I get an amount of money every month, not a whole lot. Now, I am in full agreement, though, that I don't have to do anything because I'm the one who has to pay taxes. I'm the one who, am responsible for all of that. And it makes my income look like what it's not. But I also, and I didn't always split. I split it for a number of years. Then I paused for a little while because I'm like, hey, you're married. Two people, you good, whatever. Yeah. But
hey,
I went
Mo, one second. You don't have to pay insurance on it. You don't have to pay tax insurance. I mean,
that's her income. Yes, it's her pension actually.
I was gonna say, depending on how it's set up, you may have to pay tax.
It's part of my income. So yeah. So
and Mo, you and your sister are super close,
right?
That's why I say situational.
Friction. So I'm like, it's money. Good. You know what I'm saying? I've never spoke about this publicly, but I mean, since it came up, and it's my life, I feel like I can. But to preserve the relationship, because it can get tricky, even though we're super close. I can tell it causes some level of dissension sometimes in that area. So I'm like, you know what? It's not worth it to me.
It's not worth it.
My sibling,
like with me, like my mom may very well leave it to my sister because my mom and I aren't close.
Right.
So she may leave I don't know what she has to leave, but I honestly could care less if she left her whatever. I don't care.
Well, I also acknowledge though that it could be hurtful, especially at the age we were, for that to be the experience.
Right. Because she was the older.
Not even just being older, just because we're the only two children. You see what I'm saying? So it's hurtful for a number of reasons, especially because there was no conversation.
Right.
You know, back to the conversation. We got to have it.
So, and I don't even know. I think my mom having a conversation with us might have smoothed things over a little bit more. But when I was 19, it was absolutely no way I was not going to split it. I don't care, because I didn't have the emotional energy to deal with, all
with
of
both of them.
Yeah.
And I mean, and when I was younger, I can't remember the last time when my kids were younger. Like I said, I've had life insurance a very long time. And I had my best friend to take as a beneficiary before I put my mother.
Right.
Because I wanted someone who I knew would take care of my kids if they were younger when I passed away. Thankfully, that did not happen. And as you know, as time changes, your policy can change.
Right.
Like, because sometimes the oldest child not responsible. You're not going to take all this and blow it.
Yeah.
And now the younger sibling broke, you broke, everything is
there
just
you go.
done.
On drugs, on alcohol,
on
you don't
drugs, alcohol, like,
in the streets.
Sometimes I look at it like this. It could be none of that. It could be, you know, it could be not to that extreme, but it could be simply whatever the perspective is at that time.
Exactly, it can change.
And to me, if you're willing to make that decision, you're willing to be viewed in your past in death, however it is, because that shapes out different too. So for me, I honestly don't feel like your friend was obligated to do anything.
No.
And I feel like him even giving what he gave was kind. You know, that's just me. And I get why the other sibling is upset, but sometimes in retrospect, he may not, you know, he may not be looking at the full situation either. And
I feel like my friend brother should have asked him. He should have been honest with himself. This is my opinion. This is my opinion. I feel like he should have just looked in the mirror and asked himself, okay, what type of relationship did he have with his mother? And two, was he there for his mother? You know, why did my mom make the decision to give it to him, you know, instead of because he felt some entitlement because like we just stated, like you guys just stated earlier, because you're the oldest child. You know how siblings could be sometimes. They feel like some belong to them because they the oldest, you know, especially when you're talking about monetary things. So, but you know, he wasn't responsible. He wasn't reliable. He was a street cat. So she was like, well, and I'm just assuming that why she like, why would I go this route when I know this, you know what I'm saying? I know, you know, my baby boy, he's married, he's got a child, you know what I'm saying? He was a lot more stable. You know.
So see, that's what in that situation, I was gonna ask you all in that situation, do you still think it should have been split? Because in that situation, I feel like it's very
well, that's why I said after hearing that it's situational, and it's pretty much the same thought and perspective that you had to just give it to your sister because y'all were close. I don't know what their situation was, so they may not have been even close. What I just say wrong?
I want to know what's gonna happen with that.
But let me say this. Let me say this. I don't have to say I'm paying for my mama policy. That's my policy, and I'm gonna stop right there.
Yeah, that's it. I'm just saying, like Mo said,
it's four of us. I'm the baby boy, and I'm the only one paying the policy. And
that's self-explanatory. But if it's a policy that she's been paying on, and one of your other siblings gets all of it, then you all just have to deal with, you know. But this is one thing I do. One thing I think
what we talking about?
I'm talking about the insurance policy with your three.
Okay, so I have a total.
And one of them siblings ain't paying nothing.
Okay, so this is what I'm about to say.
Okay,
we have it where three of my siblings is me, my sister, my brother. We decided to take a policy out for my mom and my dad, and we call our siblings. And we say, look, this is how much it's gonna be per month. We're gonna just divide it, you know, in the 3 or 4. 4 if you want to do it. And one of my siblings was just like,
how much is that? I ain't got no money.
Okay. So I wasn't talking about that part. So if they watching this, she brought it up. But I'm gonna speak on it.
Oh, see, I don't care. They love me, and they know I'll bring out the hard stuff.
Hey, so anyway, so if it happens, you know, once it happens, it's just us 3, and we can decide on whether or not we want to pinch off, you know. Now I'll probably be the one to give her something. I would probably be the one to give her something.
Yeah. But I got one more scenario to ask then. Say a spouse pays a policy for another spouse, and the children feel like they're obligated to some of the money.
You're not. No.
They say woo. What you say, Daniel?
Woo.
Oh, you said woo.
My ex-husband still has a policy.
I'm sure it happens, but
it does happen. So I want to know what y'all think, though. Do you think that because of a parent?
Well, it's up to the wife whether what
the spouse has the upper hand.
It's up to the wife, so she should determine, what to do with what.
And you saying she is a husband too? Husband could. The
husband,
yeah.
It's up
that's why I said that's why I used the word spouse. The spouse,
Cleve ain't like he.
So I feel like it's up to the spouse as well, but the children a lot of times, and I know a scenario like that where they feel like they're obligated. They were obligated to, some of them
should have gotten their own.
They never paid anything on the policy.
They should have gotten their own policy.
So I only got one. Like I said, I think in my case, I'm not saying she's not obligated, but I'm sure that we're gonna pinch something off. She ain't obligated, but she's the only child, so I'm sure.
You might be the only one pension. I bet the other two don't give her nothing.
Let me ask you this: How do y'all feel about leaving? How do y'all feel about leaving your kids your house?
I've taught my kids enough to be responsible, so I feel like they'll be responsible.
Yeah, and
I had a conversation. I had a conversation, and I know someone that their child they'll be getting her house, the grandmother house, and the grandfather house. And I told them, I said, she may not even want to live in Georgia, so
yeah,
it's a lot of situations like that where the parent then passed away and the kids live in another state. That kind of goes back to the burden.
I had a situation like that in my family just recently, and it's still going on right now. One of my aunts passed away, left it to so it went to her only child, and he just these are family properties. Her house was paid for. She left him my grandmother's house that she had bought, and he sold everything. She wasn't even dead 6 months.
Well, like I said, that's the burden.
In most cases, when we're talking about, when you talk about like houses, it is you might as well just. It's a no. Most kids are going to sell it.
They're gonna sell it because they may not.
He has issues. He has
they're not trying to live in it, especially if they're already established. They're not trying to go back and live there. The house may need.
He was homeless. He's homeless right now. You sold a house, and you had two houses that were paid off, and now you have nowhere to live.
In his situation, substance abuse, what can you expect, though, Key?
What you expect exactly? That's why my parents don't leave their kids.
I do feel like others who are established, like Daniel said, they're established and they don't want the responsibilities of being
a house, right? Having a
and all that. I feel like they have every right because that's why you leave it.
They do.
You leave it. Sometimes people don't have the finances for, say, $1 million property. Policy or a $500,000 policy, but they can leave them a house that has gained equity that can make them generate wealth. So I don't see a problem with people selling homes.
I don't see a problem with that either. When it's when they just don't want to do it, and that's different. But don't sell off two houses for way less than what they're even worth, and now you don't have a place to live.
And that was just an error because of his substance abuse.
Mo beat me to it. It definitely sounded like substance abuse when most. So, but Mo, I think you beat me to it. I was like, that sounds like somebody on drugs.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah,
they sold everything, the furniture,
beans. When I say beans,
like in my home, I don't expect my beneficiaries to perhaps want to take on my townhome or whatever, and if the economy is doing well, if they can make whatever and then buy a whole brand new home, do it, go for it.
And my clause would be for my daughters, if they sell it, they split it 50-50. I wouldn't have a problem with them selling it.
Right.
It's just split it 50-50 because you might not want to live here.
or
the
be
memories, you know.
You might not want to be a landlord or be
you may not want to do that and just split it 50-50 and go and take your money and do what you will. I don't care. I'm dead. I don't care.
Me too.
Right.
I just want people to do well. I'm like, the purpose of leaving things to people is because I want them to do well. And
they should be able to benefit off you leaving it to them. It shouldn't be a burden. It shouldn't be a headache.
Right.
And one thing I want to circle back to as well is like when a parent dies and children or siblings are young, and there could be sometimes a perspective of, hey, life is different. Like say for instance, Daniel, the situation happened where their mother died when they were younger, and that was the brother's life, right? But then later on in life, he's not that same person, and the younger brother is still getting some money. Then I feel like at that point it could be reassessed for that reason too,
right?
If they want to, you know.
Yeah.
So it's all different kind of reasons of how things play out, and I feel like there's no right or wrong answer.
It's situational, like Mr. Simpson said.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
It's situational.
Right. But I do feel like the wrong thing of every situation is entitlement. That's what gets under.
Always wrong. I agree.
Yeah.
That's always wrong.
It's always wrong.
Get it. You got it. You got to get it in writing.
But it runs
and the other wrong.
That entitlement.
As a parent, if I had 10 or 12 kids, like get it in writing, because they gonna fight. If you got 12 kids, all 12 of them kids don't like each other. I promise you.
And still fight.
Let me tell you though. Now we talking about black folks. Now they'll still fight during the will.
Yeah,
right. Exactly. That too.
They'll be like, they'll be like,
that's not just a white thing. We see it in public all the time, where white wealthy people still fight, and there's a will, a trust, and everything. They still fight.
They still fight.
They fighting harder.
Listen, money. I don't care what color you is. When money is involved, if money, alcohol involved, you're gonna have some problems. And don't let both of them be in the same room. You're gonna have some problems.
Look, I'm gonna add one more to it: money, alcohol, and emotions.
And what? I didn't hear the last.
Emotions in anything, you're gonna have a problem. You know. So, yeah. But absolutely, I really. This is a good conversation though, because I feel like a lot of people aren't open to talk about it, and I feel like when there are family issues, a lot of times, like I used to live by the whatever goes on in the house or family stays in the family.
I just talked about that.
I'm changing my perspective a little bit, because I feel like, and I told somebody this the other week, I'm like, but if someone did something and I'm involved, it's my story too.
Right.
So I get to tell that story however I want to tell it. Now, however you should come out on the end, that's how you decide to come out on the end, because that's how you decide to treat me. You know what I mean? Whether it's good or bad. Like if it's a praising story, or if it's a okay story or whatever. And I think in our community, a lot of times we are not used to having any kind of conversations, because we're so concerned over the fallout of how people feel, view us, and so forth. And that's one thing that I feel like we need to tear down, that stigma of.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
Like even within families, like there's sometimes, like I know we've all talked about it, like that uncle who touches kids in the family. That's
exactly what I was about to say.
You know what I'm saying? And no one says anything forever. They just keep the kids away from them. But I feel like publicly you can be like, hey, either get him arrested or he can't be around children, period. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the situation is going to be.
Or get him some help.
That too. Yeah, get them some help. In the meantime, don't let them just be around the kids, you know.
Right. Because you're setting yourself up for a disaster. Because it's just a matter of time.
And also,
he ain't gonna just touch family. He gonna step out the house and touch somebody else, and it's gonna be ugly.
I think that's I like Mo say. I think that saying is probably one of the
detrimental.
Most detrimental thing in our culture, because we truly believe in that. Like it's a lot of women and men. It's a lot of people out here carrying a lot of hurt and guilt because they don't want to tell on the uncle, or you know,
or the auntie,
or the one, or you know, just because of that saying, because of that motto, you know, what goes on in this family stays in this family, what goes on in the house stays in the house.
Right.
That's a whole other topic. That's a whole other show right there.
That trauma is not gonna stay in the house. That trauma is gonna end up outside.
That is a 60s, 70s era when they was talking like that. I don't think talk like that today.
No, people still do.
But it still trickles down, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they might not say it in that way, but they still hold to that creed of not speaking.
Look, that's why that needs to be a whole show.
The conversation we just had about like how even like you opened up about sharing your wife's view with her brother. Like to me, that normally that's not something we talk about public. Nothing we talked about here. You know, insurance was the easiest thing maybe to have.
Right.
Levels, but these aren't things that people publicly admit to having issues with siblings or family or uncles or whatever. So I feel like the conversation shouldn't be looked at and shunned upon of someone telling business. Is looked at blessing someone else to know these things happen, but they can be overcome in several different ways. Even if
it's also good for us to have this discussion because us on this panel, right? And we're opening up, we're talking about it. Guess what? It's good to hear other people's story because it let us know, you're not just by yourself. Even though we have the same story, we know that we all have a story.
Right. That's true.
And I just had a conversation with a friend. I told him, I said, listen, man, if you say something about me, if I say something and I hear it again, I'm not gonna be upset. One only thing I ask people not to do is lie. Don't lie on me.
Right.
You can state a fact or something that you feel is about me. It's an opinion, or if it's a fact, it's a fact. But don't lie. If you lie on me, I have a problem with you.
Yeah.
Don't lie on me. You can state facts on me. You can state facts, but don't lie.
And I feel that same way too. Like I look at it both ways. Like if I did something, hurt somebody, treated them wrong, they have a right to tell that story. If that, you know what I mean? If I didn't correct it, that was on me. You know what I mean? Because none of us are perfect. So they have every right to do that. And I also feel like that frees them up because everybody's going to vent anyway, right? People going to vent whatever happens. And I know you have to also know yourself. Like some people try to act like, oh, I'm perfect, I don't do anything wrong. But like I know me. If I get frustrated with somebody because I'm thinking they like talking a little slow, like not getting what I'm saying, like I would get a little, my eyes get a little bigger. I start enunciating real hard. Yeah, oh no,
that's my girl. That's why Mo is my girl.
You didn't do me like that, Mo. So is that what that is? You didn't do me like that. So is that what that is?
I didn't do like that.
Okay.
Like when me and Cleveland talk, I'm gonna tell you why I get like that with you, Cleveland, because you be hard, dead set on black or white, and I be trying to get you to see the gray. So I started enunciating hard.
Ain't no middle, huh?
I can see that.
Ain't no middle, huh?
Yeah, ain't no middle.
I can see
I'll be like Cleveland.
One thing about me, most of the thing I talk about are facts. Most of the thing I talk about is fact. It ain't how I feel. Most of the thing I talk about will be facts.
But your facts are your facts sometimes, and there are some other facts that can be incorporated.
Right, perspective and perception.
Yeah, and we can have that discussion, but that does okay. I got you.
That's what family is.
I'm learning to. I'm opening up to a lot of things now. This is therapy for me, talking and I was never like this. I man, listen, me conversating and talking about what was going on with me? Nah, I was never like that. That was one of my biggest problems, was communication. It was either it is what it is or hey.
And you have grown a lot in it. Like conversations that we have now, you can see both sides a little bit more. It used to be a time where ain't no way. Like, hey, I know because you know them just as long. Like ain't no way he ain't budging. Ain't no sense.
The thing is, but Cleve. One thing is I can say about Cleve. He's very consistent.
Right.
Even when he was young, he had he got like a old man spirit. You know what I mean? But he wasn't. He just want to do what's morally right at the end of the day. That's
to him.
Yeah, and that's why we're friends, because I get his heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be friends with him if I understand him and his heart. You know?
Yeah, he always want to do what's morally right.
All right, let's change the subject. Let's talk about something else.
I'm getting ready to eat.
Back to
y'all
family.
have had me for what?
Miss Key, yes, we had you over an hour. Yes, thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye,
all right.
All right. Okay. Any other stories before we go any further, or are we gonna bring this thing to a close?
I'm done.
You go ahead and log out, Miss Key. There you go.
Yeah, I'm done. This was a great topic. These are some good topics, and yeah, I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
It feels like a community. Like, this is one of the best things. I'm gonna tell you. One thing about COVID it brought a lot of people together. It brought a lot of people together, and it brought a lot of people started, reaching out, that they didn't reach out before. Cause I get calls from guys, hey man, I'm just calling on you, man. I heard about a truck that flipped over in California, but I just was called to make sure you okay. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not in California, but I appreciate the call. It's like COVID made people to start really thinking like, damn, somebody could be here today and gone tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So this is therapy. I mean, it really is. It really is.
It's therapeutic, especially to be able to talk about things we're not always able to talk about. And like Daniel said earlier, to hear that somebody goes through something similar, even if it's not the exact same, and how they handle it. You know what I mean? Just hearing that is, refreshing. So I think this is one of the better one. But, not that all of them are good, but this is a good topic that I feel like don't y'all start. The Simpsons are messy.
Hopefully they let this one air. What's
been happening? They've been pulling some.
We got flagged. Me and Cleve got flagged on the show, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.
Y'all got flagged?
Damn.
What was the show?
Our video. They what was the title, Cleve? I can't
remember, but it was a good show. It was just basically conversing back and forth with people that was coming in and everything.
Well, y'all must have been talking about.
We didn't do any like name call or anything like that. We was talking. What were we talking about? We were talking about.
Probably talking about gay or something.
Hey.
What?
No.
That'll shut you down, man.
Yeah, that shut you down. But I don't think we.
No, we didn't. We didn't touch on none of that. We didn't touch on
okay. Well, I'm just
saying.
The
name of the show was Time versus Money.
Time versus Money.
And he got shut down for that?
Yep.
Time versus Money.
Because look, it was some gems in that, not from me and Daniel, just from people. We had about 6 or 7 people just comment. It was on.
It was a great show.
And
we were just talking about how, how some people can have all the money, but they don't have the time. And some people have all the time, but they don't have the money. And some people plan for stuff at the end of the road, but they wind up dying because they thought they had this time. So we was just mixing this thing up about time versus money. And that's what we got flagged on. And now we did mention Michael Jackson. We did mention who else?
Odd, though. Can you guys reach out to support to see why?
No, they did. No, I guess on this particular one, when I did I went back on YouTube and I just said something about flagging. The other guy was like, yeah, lately YouTube been flagging everybody. Da, da, da. I was like, okay, I guess we were one of them.
Yeah, that's odd though. Yeah, that topic shouldn't have got flagged.
We try to have a wholesome show where we can, talk or whatever. We may use a curse word here and there, but we're not like targeting any group or we ain't trying to lash out and hate nobody. We're trying to bring this thing together and have some dialogue and understanding to make us better black people, not try to digress. We're trying to do.
We have no clue, but it was a good
show.
But
anyway, it was a good show.
And
but anyway, I know. Listen. I want to thank you all for Miss Key. I know you're gone. Thank you. I want to thank Jeremy for chiming in as always. I want to thank the Simpsons. Thank y'all for y'all time. We got to have y'all back on the show. And as we always do, we always like to have like words of wisdom, something on your mind and your heart. So we can go ahead and go with Miss Mo, and then we'll go with the Simpsons.
I'll close out, and I'm gonna stay consistent like Cleveland and say communication is key. We need to communicate more and more dialogue. Even if it gets emotional, we can overcome it and get through it.
Right. All right. Simpsons, what y'all got?
You can close it.
I'm just gonna close it with communication is the key. Let's start having the difficult conversations with our family members, because like Daniel said, death is inevitable.
You just gonna steal Mo's clothes like that?
Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Communication is key.
Y'all been around each other, so y'all already know what other people say.
Y'all can finish each other's sentence.
Yeah.
Hey man, listen, we definitely just appreciate again just having us on here to
thank you,
chop it up with y'all. And it's very nice meeting you, Ms. Mo, and Ms. Key. And always Cleveland, good talk to you.
Likewise, y'all too.
Mr. Daniel.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. What you got, Clay?
Hey, hit that like button, share. We appreciate all the support. Continue to keep on, commenting, sharing, liking. I appreciate all our guests. Well, y'all not guests, y'all family. Y'all didn't been on here.
Hey, don't share this on my page on Facebook though, because she said that part in it, and my sister be on my page. But I won't. Yeah, not that part. Chop it up. Y'all chop it. Break it down in segments, man. You know what I'm saying?
We got personal on this one. Don't tag none of us.
Hey, don't tag you.
Hey, I'm gonna get it. Look, while I was sitting here, my phone was ringing. I'm like, oh, that's family.
Yeah, man. This was but it was a real conversation.
Real conversation, man. Real conversation.
We got to deal with it now.
Are you done, Cleve?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, again, I'm just piggybacking off Cleve. Like, share, most importantly, subscribe. If you're in the Atlanta area, contact Cleveland or whatever. Try to, get them brown space shirts. We got them, different flavor. Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming in. This was a great discussion, and again, I would love for us to do better. I would love for us to do better as a people. It doesn't matter whatever your political party is, what your religion is, but I still see, when I see black people, I still see black people. So, and we got to do better. And in areas like this is where we hurt the most. And this is why we're in the same financial position, because we don't have simple conversations. Because I'm telling you, every other ethnic group, they're building their wealth. One of the ways of their building wealth is insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, I want to say peace.
Bye, y'all.
Peace. Y'all be easy.
All right.
Mo.
Yeah.